guys, welcome to Beer with Friends, where we drink beer so you don't have to. I'm Aaron Gore, certified Cicerone and technically an adult.
Josh Hayward, Cicerone beer server and host of Beer with Brewpreneur.
And I'm Steph.
So anyways, got a handful of great beers today. We're going to be kind of drinking our way through Legion Brewing's barrel-aged series, relatively recent thing that they've been doing.
Yeah.
Legion Brewing based right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Kind of built their name on the back of Juicy J. If you live literally anywhere near the Charlotte area, I promise you've heard of that beer.
You can find it everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much gas stations. It's not even packaged. I'm just pretty sure some of them put it in a tap just so they'd have that one beer. But something definitely very different from them, getting into a little more traditional Saison, sours, kind of things they're not really known for. So excited to see what we got.
Same here. I have never had any of these and really looking forward to it.
Super artsy labels.
Yeah, it really is. These are really clean. And they changed their logo literally like right as they released this series too. So it's like a whole new
part of the
direction
rollout.
for 'em. All right,
So
let's
what's
get
first?
started. So first up, we have Entmoot.
I was going to ask you to do Treebeard's voice for that.
I cannot get my voice that low. I'm not nearly that manly.
can't do it
It's an Oak Farmhouse Ale, 6.8% brewer's notes. Brewed with pilsner malt, as well as local buckwheat, fermented with Norwegian farmhouse yeast, and aged in oaks for
Give me
6
that
months
bottle.
with milk
Stop.
mixed culture. Shut up, I'm doing it. All right, guys.
Love the name on this one.
What is it?
I'm a huge nerd.
Entmoot.
Entmoot. It is the meeting of the Ents. So
I love the fact you're acting as if that cleared it up for anybody.
right.
So Ents are like a tree-ish type people in J.R.R. Tolkien's
They're
Lord of the
tree-ish
Rings.
type people.
And the connection is the oak barrels, I guess, tree, maybe.
I mean, you look at the names of the rest of these; they're all pretty nerdy. I'm not
Pretty
sure there's a
sure-
whole lot of
Pretty
connection.
sure that point is moot.
Oak
See what you did there.
Oak Farmhouse Ale. So yeah.
All right, well, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Oh, I can already smell
Look
it.
at that.
Yeah, that smells fantastic.
Oh
That's
my
a
God.
Beautiful
beer.
golden color. I love the fact that me and Josh both immediately went up to do this, and Steph's like, I don't know, I can swirl it.
I'm like,
and she looked a lot less
Gosh,
like an
the
asshole,
aromas
too.
just really set it up.
wow.
All right.
Okay, what do we smell though, guys? I don't even know.
Well, it smells like beer.
It smells.
an
No, it
excellent
doesn't
start.
actually to me.
No, it really doesn't. So it definitely
It's like
smells a little lactic.
fruity or something.
I'm getting a little appley notes.
Yeah, and it's definitely got like a vinous kind of quality to it. So you
I'm
know,
sorry?
Very good.
Yeah,
Vinous, like
yeah.
vine.
Write that one down, by the way. Use that later. That one's for free. So definitely like a light, like wine-like quality, and I also get just a touch of almost like a very, very light nutty clove. That's pretty typical of buckwheat in general.
Buckwheat.
Some of that could also be coming from the actual mixed culture that they're using. You'll see a lot of wild yeast will kick off some phenols, is what they call them.
Some females?
Yep, kick off some females. This party's getting started the right way, guys. Entmoot, meeting of the wood.
I took that sip at the wrong time.
So far, we've managed to make it without a single episode of any of us actually spitting beer all over the place.
I really like.
It's kind of miraculous.
I'm not sure
So
that this is my jam.
I really like it for all that's going on here. The Pilsner malt, it's crisp. I'm getting like it's.
I've never heard anybody emphasize the P in crisp so much, but it really does kind of evoke what it is.
That's how I remember it. Pilsner crisp.
That's what it takes for you to remember that? Of all the association, that's the one that's been the difficulty
It's
for
what
you?
works right now, you know. No, it's really smooth, really crisp. I like the fruity notes is coming in mid taste and the backside. It's great.
Yeah, and anytime you see Norwegian farmhouse yeast, you also hear it Kvik or Kvik, few other pronunciations because Americans are terrible at pronouncing
I
Norwegian
have
words.
so far understood zero.
And to be a farmhouse ale, it's not crazy wild over the top. Some of these things can get way out there.
It's drinkable.
Yeah.
Which I like. It kind of, I mean, it's very, very much a wine drinker's beer.
Yeah.
It'd be easy to pair with food as well.
It's more winey than beery.
Very much so. Yeah. And I mean, even looking at the color,
Vinous.
I mean, without the
What if he
bubbles, vinous.
Winey.
Yes. But yeah, anytime you see Norwegian farmhouse yeast, essentially that's a very fast-working yeast, also ferments very hot. And essentially what it does is kicks off, some of the strains will kick off just a ton of almost like tropical fruit flavors without any fruit actually being in there. So even in here, you'll get some of those kind of citrus, maybe just a touch of papaya I get, a little hint of passion fruit. Pretty much all of that's coming from the yeast itself, which is cool. And plus these can do a really fast ferment. Typical fermentation time for an ale will be, 7 to 12 days, depending on what you're doing. Vike yeast, you can get it down to, I've seen 2.
Wow.
Which is absolutely insane. There's a brewery here in Charlotte that brewed Imperial Stout, and they got that thing to ferment out 10% alcohol in under 48 hours.
Good gracious.
Absolutely nuts.
That's great just for the science of it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
And that yeast has only been around for just a handful of years. It's literally just a guy named Lars traveling across Norway because, of
He would
course,
have to be named Lars.
of course he was. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
he has a blog. It's
Also,
called Lars Blog.
I'm
I'm not lying.
I'm gonna start calling Vikings Vikes
From now on, just those Vikes.
as I talk about.
You can
them
only
a
say
lot.
that though if you really know them well.
That's
That's
true.
your nickname. They're offended if
What up,
you're
my
just coming in
Vikes?
from Outware.
I don't. To be clear, this does not taste like wine. For anybody who might be misled by this conversation so far, it doesn't taste really like beer to me either. It's very confusing. I could see if you're like a shard girl that this could maybe go. This could maybe be something that you could.
I just want to meet one person out there who describes themselves as a shard girl.
Would
Well,
you describe yourself as a shard girl?
I would not. And I don't
feel
feel
like that's
like the
something
shard
people put on
girls
their
are
Tinder
watching,
profile.
but I feel like people watching this have a friend who's a shard girl.
So even if she doesn't describe
what I'm
herself
saying?
that way, and if you say to
You know
yourself,
she is.
I don't have a friend who's a shard girl, you're the shard girl.
And here I am holding this thing
Boom.
like.
Pinkies out,
I've been
ladies.
holding the glass
Come
like
on.
this the whole
Yeah, she's definitely the one. You can tell that she has day drunk wine before because she is like got it in the prime pounding position. Look at that.
I feel like this
Oh.
would need to be colder for a wine drinker to drink.
Think so?
I think so. Because you drink white wine cooler.
Even then, white wine you don't want super cold.
No.
Like 45 degrees is pretty spot on for a full-bodied white, and I'd say this is definitely closer to a Chardonnay, like you're saying. It's definitely, again, doesn't taste like Chardonnay,
No, it doesn't.
but it's more evocative of that than it is
Right.
more traditional beers.
Very evocative.
Very, very evocative.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think this would be a perfect table beer. It's
great.
not too effervescent. It's not too aggressive with any
Not too
flavors.
much going
Acidity is
on.
pretty reserved.
Yeah.
And again, it's just got a touch of that fruit and just a touch of spiciness
I
to it.
could
that I think
see
rounds
like
everything
a table outside, summer afternoon, a little charcuterie.
out. Ooh.
There you go.
Ooh,
Little
yeah, actually
cheeses
some salted
and
meat
nuts.
or something. Yeah.
Boom.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing this
That's
in the
ideal.
garage. It's basically the same
Outside.
thing. I think I got some Velveeta upstairs.
The Hormel.
Oh.
Beat in the Hormel.
Oh, I actually do got like a whole bunch of like Velveeta shells and cheese right now.
Oh,
So
wow.
if you guys are looking for it,
Mm-hmm. Zombie apocalypse ready. 'Cause
yeah,
that stuff never goes
I
bad.
am prepared for anything.
Never goes bad.
Yeah, that cheese product is going to be good
Cheese product.
forever.
All right, what's next up, guys?
Yeah.
This was great. I really
I'm
enjoyed
liking
this
it more
one.
as I'm drinking
Yeah.
it more. Maybe I needed a palate cleanser.
Well, it's wonderful because that was a palate cleanser for the next
So
beer.
maybe this,
Excellent.
maybe don't pair this with Chick-fil-A nugs. Because that's what I had before this.
Everything pairs with Chick-fil-A nugs.
Hey, he's got a little point there.
All right, so next up we got Viserion
Yes.
Scuppernong Farmhouse Ale. Now, if you're watching this from outside of North Carolina and wondering what is a Scuppernong, the answer is it's like a grape if you took all the good stuff about grapes out of it.
Really? I've heard
no.
of like scupperdines and muscadines. Is similar family?
Yeah, so muscadines, the Scuppernong is just a type of muscadine
Okay.
specifically. So they're big, fat, wild grapes native to America, tend to be a lot more sweet, or at least the resulting wines tend to be. The actual fruits themselves actually tend to have some bitterness.
This episode is going to come with a glossary.
Yes, yeah, full appendix.
Helpful terms down at the bottom.
Yeah,
it's
we're
gonna
really going to have to add
scroll
a lot of
Yeah.
notes in post. The copy on this is going to be huge.
That's great.
So,
Huge.
Viserion.
Okay, now you get to read the brewer's notes.
Yeah, I
making
know,
fun of
because
me.
I don't want to do it in a voice. All right, so we're looking at 6.0%, 15 IBU, and 3 SBM.
SRM.
Sorry.
SRM is color. If you ever see SRM listed on something, it's
This
basically a
is new to
scale
me.
that goes roughly from 1 to 40.
Light
You
hitting-
can technically
Light
get
hitting
beyond
the
that.
beer. It's a
1 to
scale.
40.
Usually, so the lower the
So
number,
this is-
usually the
it's
lighter
gonna be lighter,
it is. It's
okay.
going to be a very light colored beer.
The brewer's notes. A blend of farmhouse ales brewed with local malts, aged in oak, and re-fermented on North Carolina Scuppernong grapes.
Ooh,
It is hard to
You
do
have to
these
say it
without
that
a
way.
voice.
You have to say it that
You
way.
got to do that Scuppernong. Yeah.
Kind of do have to do these notes.
So they're kind of a trademark ingredient here in the Carolinas. Pretty common. I mean, if you just walk out in the woods in North Carolina, you're going to wind up finding Scuppernongs just growing on trees.
I mean,
like that. It's like a nice.
If I had a nickel for every time I saw a Scuppernong growing on trees.
Have 2 nickels.
Okay, and this is bottled last June, so it's
Nice.
March now, so we're looking at a nice
A
little,
little bit of age, but not too
nice
bad.
little treat.
And for something like this, any kind of farmhouse ale, you can usually age these all right. Some of the hoppier ones will definitely lose that character pretty quick, but if they are bottle conditioned, so they put the yeast actually in the bottle, that'll keep working on any residual sugars that are in there, and it'll actually change the qualities of the beer over time. So they can actually be a lot of fun to age and just try a younger one with an older one and really just see how dynamic it is.
I love doing that, especially if you can get a couple of these during releases.
You guys love trying a younger one with an older one?
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, thought so. These labels
Stand
are
by
awesome.
that.
Die cut labels on the back.
Which, by the way, those are expensive.
Yeah,
so
these
thank
are-
you, Legion, for
And they've got a
spending
really
money.
nice, a really
Extra
beautiful
nice.
logo for their cellar series.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful, yeah.
All
It's
right.
really nice.
Well,
All right, ready, guys?
I think we need the beer. That tends
Yeah.
to be nice.
Mm-hmm. It sounds great when you pour it.
It really does. Tight bubbles. I mean, and you look at the. I mean,
Thank
it
you
looks
very much.
almost identical to the last one. Color's almost exactly the same. A little less clear than the last
I
one.
love
actually.
tight bubbles.
Yeah, both of them. So this is a 5
I don't
SRM.
even
This is a
know
3.
where to go on that. For once in my life, I'm out of words.
More.
That's what did it?
That apparently.
That's not even a good one.
So this one
You
definitely
can-
lacks a lot of the acidity.
I don't
just on the
smell
nose. The last
anything
one. It's a
hardly.
lot more neutral.
I smell those muscadongs.
Muscat.
I just completely butchered that. So this is my South Carolinian
Oh.
showing.
You're from this area.
Yeah, I didn't. We never came across
Yeah, because you're from
Scuppernongs.
South Carolina and you don't have public education.
It was always Scupperdines and Muscadines.
No, it's
So-
muscadine and scuppernong.
You know what?
So,
You know
I-
what goes good with
Scuppernongs.
tight bubbles?
So
A
Scuppernongs.
muscadong.
I completely butchered that. But now I'm smelling that here. No lie. Like,
Yeah?
oh yeah. We
Smelling
used.
that muscadine.
No, we used to.
Like our locker room in here.
No. Truth be told.
Oh.
Truth
I
be
wish we had a reverse camera.
Our producer is dying
His-
off camera right
His
now.
face is the color.
He's got a red
Oh,
iPhone right here
His face
taking
is the
beer.
color of a nice ripe muscadine.
Yeah.
They're about like this.
Stop doing
Big
it.
orbs.
Stop doing it.
That's great. I love it.
Oh.
Guys,
Welcome,
we
welcome
almost
to
killed
Beer
him.
with Friends.
I love the fact that he's barely cracked a smile and we're all
I know.
dying.
He's
I
Oh
was
my
about to start a story and I kind of got started and
All
right.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
All right.
I smell it and I smell that fruit, the Scuppernong. I have to read it to make sure I said it right.
how much you were struggling to make sure you're saying it
I
time.
was.
That's what
I
he
didn't
meant
want-
the entire time,
Didn't want
ladies
to
and
butcher
gentlemen.
it.
Proud of you.
But no, seriously, like we'd be building forts in the woods as kids, and you come across this fruit, and it's like, hey,
You
score.
really have? You really know what
No
this
doubt.
Oh
is?
yeah, no, they're all over the
Yeah.
place. If you know where to
Like
look.
I smell this, and I can smell
did
the
not
fruit.
know
As
that.
I'm
If I
transported
showed
back
you
to
what the
childhood.
leaf looked like, because you won't see those unless you're looking for them, the actual grapes, but they're like golf ball size. But yeah,
Really?
I'll show you the leaves. They can get like that big.
That's
and
cool.
You'll see them now if you're looking
They
for
look
them.
like a plum?
No. So they look like a perfectly round grape, so not ovoid. Like they look like perfectly round, and the skin.
I'm sorry, not ovoid.
Ovoid. Write that one down too. Use it later.
Lots of glossary and terminology.
Lots of ovoids. No, so it so it'll be just like a perfectly round grape, anywhere from green all the way through red. But the skin looks almost thin because you can almost see like veining and everything. It's not sound less dirty talking about muscadongs this way, but yeah, no, the skin's not really pleasant. It's super astringent, but the actual juice inside, if you split them open, is delicious. They're good to
So
eat.
like a muscadine grape.
It's the same thing. So
But those are little.
nope.
Yeah, muscadines are small. My grandma
They
used to
can
grow them.
So they grow in all sizes. You can get
Oh,
them
okay.
that big, and
But the
they can
skins
grow
are
up
tart.
to
skins are really
exactly
tart.
unpleasant. So muscadines and scuppernongs are just two different, basically varietals of the same thing. But they can grow
Look at me
anywhere from
learning.
this big all the way up to golf ball size and everywhere in between. But yeah, see, you knew what we were talking about.
Okay, so what do we think of this one, guys?
It's excellent.
I really don't smell anything.
Yeah, it's got a very neutral scent. Like I can definitely get a little grapiness off of it. It's definitely a lot lighter, and even the flavor of it, it's.
It smells like a glass.
Describe for me exactly what a glass smells like.
It's in a glass.
Nothing.
I'm transported back to childhood. Like I said, that building forts in the woods.
Can we get through one episode without you talking about alcohol transporting you to childhood?
That's crazy. And I raised in a very strict home, no alcohol anywhere, and now that's what
You never know
I
it, man.
think of childhood. No, it's
You and your burnt toast.
yeah. Throwback to the last episode. Check it out. Me making burnt toast as a kid. No, I just
You had the most depressing
Aaron.
childhood.
Oh,
I
man.
swear.
we had a blast.
Having to eat wild scuppernongs because we didn't have food, just
Didn't have
burnt
snacks.
toast.
We're out foraging in the woods as kids.
We said tree house. It was our
I have
actual
a-
house.
I have a situation.
You gotta go on.
I got a bug.
An actual bug, or what do you got in there?
I don't know. Maybe. I think he drank some of my beer.
What are you doing? We're
No, look,
indoors.
there's a little guy in there, Sam.
No, that's a little piece of yeast.
It is?
Yeah. So
Is yeast black?
it can be. If you got yeast that's basically oxidized, like dyed and oxidized, settled out, you'll sometimes see little black specks in your beer, especially on some bottle condition like this.
Pepper.
Because I feel like I would have noticed that
will.
in the last
It'll
one.
look kind of like
It's
black
really
pepper
stuck
almost.
though, like it's a little crusty that was on
It is completely harmless. I absolutely promise. If you have a problem with it, take it up with Legion Brewing here in
Okay.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
I'll call him tomorrow.
But no, it's absolutely harmless. You'll see it, especially on things that have had a little age on them. Usually some of the older yeast will start dying. It'll basically die out, stick. In England, they decided for some god-awful reason to turn it to something called Marmite, which,
I've heard of that.
yeah, don't eat it. But it's literally just dead brewer's yeast, essentially. Now they produce it industrially, but that's how it got started. But yeah, it's completely harmless. You'll see it with a lot of bottle-conditioned beers, even some bottle-conditioned German beers like Weisens, for example. You pour them out with the yeast. If you have some age on them, you'll find that. Just they won't hurt you in the least.
So your
You won't
Vikes and
taste
your
them.
Weisens.
The Vikes and the Weisens, exactly.
I gotta give credit to Legion on this one, using something that is really local to North Carolina. That's great.
It is a nice touch. I wish there was a little more character to the beer itself, because almost all the flavor I get, especially as it warms up a little bit,
It's from the
is
glass.
from the Scuppernong. Yeah, it's from the glass. No, it is from the Scuppernong. There's not a ton to it. I do feel like it would go pretty well with like a nice like bitter green salad or something, like almost like complement of vinaigrette. But yeah, there's not a ton to it.
I'd like to try it. Try the beer straight up before they re-ferment it on the Scuppernongs, just for comparison's sake.
Which would be nice.
Yeah.
For want of a nail.
All right, next up, you guys. Hey, you want to read this one?
Falkor.
Oh yeah,
Fucker.
this is definitely Josh's turn.
Falkor. No, this
That's
is
good, 'cause I
That
was
was
reading
pretty
it.
solid, yeah.
the dry hopped.
No, yeah, let's not do it that way.
That's before I even said it.
Next we have Falkor. This is the
Why do they keep bleeping the name of our beer?
dry hopped Brett Farmhouse Ale. Brewer's
Brett
notes.
Farmhouse.
Yes, this is going to be using
Literally just
all
a
right,
dude named Brett. They put 50 pounds of him in every single batch.
Brettanomyces. I said it right for the first time ever on the first take. It
You
was
heard it
really
here.
close. No, so coming in at 5
Say it again.
Brettanomyces.
Twice? We got it.
We go.
We got it.
Coming in at 5.8%, 5 IBUs, and a 3.0 SRM. So going to be the same color as that one there. Brewed with local malt, wheat, and spelt
You know
from Epiphany Craft Malts. Shout out to my friends there. Dry hopped following 9 months of
Sebastian.
aging in oak barrels. So cool thing about that, brewed with Epiphany Craft up in Durham, North Carolina. Check those guys out.
There is something about these labels that you have to do a voice.
Yeah.
No, it really does. It's,
We've all three
it's just
done it.
evocative. Like you take a look at it and you're like, man, I'm transported to a place.
Transported.
Falkor.
Yeah, pinky up exactly the
There you
entire
go.
time. Yeah.
They false start. Black caps. They threw me, right?
No. Don't blame this on the cat. You cannot.
I didn't see it coming.
Did they teach you nothing in the woods as you were growing up with burnt toast?
We
You have to
didn't
open-
use bottle openers. We used pocket knives.
Oh, man. So which trailer park are you from exactly?
12
So
Pluto Lane, Warrenville,
rude.
South Carolina.
Wow, he popped that out quick.
I did. I did.
Oh, man.
Another beautiful
So-
label.
So, yeah, color's a little deeper than the last couple,
I
but
got
not by
it,
much.
yeah.
It's very, very yellow.
It is yellow. I like yellow.
Congratulations, guys. We know our colors.
I don't know anything about anything that was just said about this.
Okay, so it's a beer.
Okay.
I'm not
I
going to
like
lie.
beer.
I was ignoring most of it.
Look, because of how I read it, or
Oh, I was busy thinking about the trailer park. If I'm not thinking about my next joke, what am I doing here?
I kind of get that.
Local malt, wheat, and spelt. So
what is spelt exactly, Josh?
it's a type of. I'm not gonna show my ignorance here. It's a type of grain.
You nailed
I'm
it.
not wrong. I couldn't tell you what exactly family it's in or how it is comparative to other things. I'm not too learned on my spelt.
No. So spelt's essentially like a primitive grain. Very similar to like emmer wheat, so or einkorn. So it's an old school wheat varietal that basically predates what we think of as modern wheat. It tends to have a lightly nutty quality.
So it's
you
not
actually
GMO.
get that. So it's not GMO. That's not how we roll around here. Only non-GMO spelt. It's spelt Falkor as well, not whatever you were going to say, Steph.
All right, whatever you want to call it, Falkor.
So it just adds a little depth to the actual grain profile.
It's fizzy.
It is indeed
Like
carbonated.
like
I feel like we
effervescent.
had the same
Effervescent.
conversation on a previous episode.
We did?
It's fizzy. I think you even used the word fizzy.
That's how it feels.
I hate those fizzy beers. Oh, was it fuzzy? Fuzzy, yeah.
You can, now that you say that, you can definitely get more of a nutty quality in the, as far as the grains go there.
It'd be even funnier if I was just making that whole thing
No.
up, and
Compared
now
to the
it's in his
last
head.
one. No. But seriously, spelt being an older type grain, a lot of times you'll see breweries use it to impart some additional
It's like a
character.
rusticity you get out of it. It really is. It gives it kind of a throwback quality, adds to that farmhouse kind of appeal, and really does kind of round it out. This one's actually, I really enjoy this one. It's got just a touch of an almost, it's not acidic, but you do get an almost fruitiness out of it.
Don't you feel like fizziness on your tongue?
Maybe some
Almost like
type feeling.
effervescence is the word. Like
It's definitely
tiny bubbles.
in my wine and beer.
That's actually a cadence.
I know it is. Yeah, they used to do that at the Naval Academy when my dad was stationed there.
Tiny bubbles.
Yeah, but then they just change up what the tiny bubbles were in
my
on every
beer,
year.
in my wine,
tequila,
in my milk,
yep,
whatever.
Yep.
milk.
Wow, we got way off it. Yeah.
Yes.
What are the bubbles doing in your milk? I don't even care if it's a cadence. You need to see somebody about that. That's
Yes.
pour it out.
Yep.
But aside from that, yeah, this has a bit of a nutty quality. It's also got a touch of that kind of clove-like quality. You can definitely tell the Brett's working on it. Hence a stone fruit. I get a little touch of almost like cherry pith more than anything.
Unpack that one for me. That's even
Yeah.
for me.
Pith?
Cherry pith?
Pith?
Yeah, so the cherry pit, not pith, but
Taking
okay.
the pith.
This is a sober. This is alarming. Cherry pit, not cherry pith.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so a little bit of the actual stone gives it just a touch of astringency and just a little bit of fruitiness to it as well. I find this incredibly pleasant. I feel like this would be really fun to pair with food.
I think that's
What
my
would you put it with?
favorite thus far.
I agree with
That
you.
first one had the most going on for sure.
It was definitely the loudest, and it was still fairly well-rounded. Like it
So
wasn't
that was like the
screaming at
Aaron
you.
of the lineup so far.
And this is the Stephanie of the lineup, and we got Josh right
'Cause
over
it's the
here.
best.
Trailer park.
In the trailer park, and then right over here, I'm sure we got an Ernest. Ernest, you're off camera, but cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
That's great. Yeah, I really like this one. It's
This
good.
one is good. It
Love
goes
it.
down easy.
Yeah, and it's bready without being overly funky. It actually has a really nice drinkability to it.
I just said it goes down easy. Why do you have to just call it drinkability?
Because the entire thing, I came in here with a whole thesaurus with
I
the
know.
words. Why did I even get a word of the day calendar if I can't use them all here,
That's a
Steph?
good point. You're using them all today.
It's pithy.
I want a little more.
Pithy.
Don't get all pithy on me, Aaron. Don't get all pithy on me.
Taking a pith all over my jokes.
I
Really
like how
pissed off.
they tweak this for each one of them. You know, doing something a little bit different. You know, yeah,
They're
switching
very
up the
different
malts.
beers.
But I like it. I mean, every
Yeah.
one of them's been good and
What's the
unique in
date
their
on
own
this
way.
Yeah, shout out to Patty. I know you played a role in at least these first three, Pat. But no, for a brewery that really wasn't known for a barrel program at all, did maybe a handful of small batch releases, mostly known for the stuff they're putting out in distribution. They're really kind of killing it so far,
Yeah.
especially on Saisons and farmhouses, which are traditionally some of the hardest things to really balance well. So really been impressed with the three that we've tried already.
Not what you would usually expect from the Juicy J guys.
Definitely none of these are things I would associate at all with Legion ahead of this series, which I think is a hell of an introduction and
Yes.
a great way to put your foot in the door.
Yeah.
This one's over a year old. What was our first one? Also,
Sometime 2019.
Yeah.
These by date? No.
Yeah, so yeah,
Very
we've
well
got
done.
some age on them, especially with Brett. Brett will just keep eating anything.
I've heard about that guy.
Yeah, I know.
That guy.
He's a
Dude,
pig.
he'll eat anything. But like you could probably pour Brettanomyces in a freaking shoe, and if you gave it at least 10 years, it'd eat through the entire shoe.
Throwback to
Can you
drinking
tell me what it
coffee
is
out
again?
of
Out of a
a
boot, yeah.
Can you tell me what that is actually?
Yeah, so
I don't know what that
Brettanomyces is, you'll hear it described as a wild yeast. These days there's a lot of domesticated varieties of it, but essentially it's not typical brewing yeast. So it's a different species of yeast. One of the key things that it does, it works a lot slower than traditional brewing yeast, but it will metabolize, eat things that traditional brewing yeast really won't touch. So if you leave it in there long enough, a lot of those things that normal brewing yeast would just kind of be like, yo, I'm out of food, I'm just going to go dormant and be done with my job. Brett will just keep going. It'll keep gobbling it up. It'll keep spitting out interesting flavors. So usually when you hear...
So it's like a timing issue.
Yeah,
with
so
the
Brett will keep working for a year, 2 years, 3 years. Some beers, especially if they've got a lot going on in them, a lot of additional metabolites in there, it'll keep going for 5 years, just gobbling stuff up and spitting out new flavors. So
This one's a little more cloudy too.
it
The
is
wheat that's coming from some of the
definitely
wheat there, I
yeah. Wheat in general is a high protein grain, even
more
primitive
cloudy,
grains. So yeah, they'll be more cloudy by nature.
To the point of the bread, I've even heard of some home brewers, if they have all flavors in their beer.
There's
Cloudy
some
by
dude
nature.
actually named Brett who's like, screw
Why do
you
you keep
guys.
talking about me? But no,
I was just thinking cloudy by nature, and I almost started rapping.
And it would be, someone needs to name
works,
that
right?
if they haven't already.
No, I've heard of some home brewers, like if they got some all flavors in a batch, they throw some bread in there and it, really eats all the bad stuff and kind of cleans up the beer and they create a sour,
Oh, cool.
So,
Which, by the way, if you're a commercial brewery, don't do that.
home brewers, that was the disclaimer there.
Yeah. But in general, like when you hear a beer described as like funky or with like farmhouse flavors or
Yeah.
rustic flavors, Brett's usually going to be involved.
I don't usually order those.
Well, that's what we're doing
welcome.
here with friends. Yeah, welcome to the world of
So
Brett.
would you call this funky?
None of these have been overly
No.
funky,
I
but
don't
there is a
think it is.
touch of funk. So
Yeah.
Just a little funky?
Brett will kick out. One of the fun things about Brett is like trying to describe the flavors and aromas that it kicks off.
I think the
because
most fun thing about Brett
You're never
is that
wrong.
is that he's just a fun guy.
He is. I mean, he's the life of the party.
But no, like Brett, like some of the aromas it gives off are literally described as like barnyard or horse blanket.
Oof.
Yeah, that's or used straw. So yeah, it's a lot of not so pleasant descriptors, but for some actually complex, really pleasant aromas.
wonders
But
in a beer.
it's exactly what it sounds like. It's these funkier, kind of more earthy kind of notes.
This
a little
doesn't
more
have any
barnyardy
of that,
notes.
though.
It's got a light touch, but this one has more stone fruit. That's one other thing that Brettanomyces can do is hints of cherry, but without the acidity of cherry,
Okay.
which I definitely get some of off of this. So it'll give kind of those earthy notes you get right around the cherry pit.
I'm definitely getting that effervescent. I'm either getting effervescence or like having an allergic reaction. I don't know which it is.
It's been a hell of a time to figure out that you're allergic to beer.
Yeah.
My
Yes.
tongue's swollen.
Oh, giving you an EpiPen on camera.
Hey.
Quick recovery.
Oh, man.
All right, being that I botched the last pour, I'm going to let someone else pour, but I'm going to at least open. Is that
Do it.
cool?
Do it, yeah.
All right, so this is Elara. Beautiful name for a beer. As I was told before the episode, it's a beautiful name for an ex-girlfriend. But this is the peach sour ale.
Whoever
Aaron
said
laughed
that
that
was
hard
hilarious.
because it was his joke.
The
Yes,
peach,
it was.
The peach sour ale. This was bottled 10/17/19, so
You don't know my
5
history.
months or so. Golden sour ale brewed with River Bend Malt House barley, wheat, and oats. Fodder fermented and aged on fresh South Carolina peaches. So
Hey, your neck of the woods.
there you
we
go, man. I can't say we're walking around out in the woods going after the muscadongs, but South Carolina peaches. So
All right, beautiful. Yeah, so
By all
We
means,
are in Fort
by
Mill,
all
South
means,
Carolina.
serve yourself first.
Place location
definitely
South
means
Carolina
serve myself
peaches.
first.
So yeah,
Springs Farms are up the street. They do some fantastic peaches.
incredible
Hey,
peaches.
what's my color number on this? This looks
So-
like, I'd say this was like a 7.
They don't give it on this one.
Oh,
Stop doing
come
the SRM on this
on.
one
They
in the
did.
series. So,
Change the
what's a fooder, Josh?
So it's basically
Faux Etter.
Made by spelled Faux Etter. Basically like a wooden cask made by Fooder Crafters.
We're gonna be at this for a while.
Yeah, we are. So
Britannomyces and Fooder Feeders.
there you go, Fooder Feeders. If this is easy content for him, he just make fun of me the whole episode. It works. But no, it's a place where
And I just shrugged because I don't know what
a lot of these beers can be aged, and they take on various types of character. And it,
Good thing Josh is here.
Oh, he's the only thing keeping this watchable. Yeah, he's the looks and the brains of this operation.
Well, hey.
yeah, but to your point,
So this one's definitely got a little bit of funk to it.
Mm-hmm.
You also get a little bit of stank off of this one.
I smell it.
Yeah, so there's some sulfur on this. A lot of times when you're using fresh fruit, especially with some of those wild yeast, because they work slower, one of the first things they give off a lot of times is sulfur compounds. So you'll get a little of that, fartiness. But if you give it some time, it will process out, and especially with something like this is a relatively young one, so if you give it time to kind of process out and continue doing its work in the bottle, that stank will go away. And it's completely harmless, and usually your nose kind of acclimates to it.
I didn't smell the stank.
You tasted
the stank.
I'm going to try again.
This one's hot. Wow.
Meaning...
So that is, that is a lot more acidic than the previous ones.
Acidic, in your face. You're getting the peachiness.
Yeah, the peaches
You're kind of like,
right
are your
there.
faces doing this too?
Yeah,
Not so much?
no one could do that, Steph. That is uniquely you.
I can see where the flavors
But
are
I see
going
exactly,
on this
yeah.
one. Man, some more age on that's really going to round it out.
It's going to need like a year.
I mean, I'm in on all those other ones, and this tastes like bad peaches.
No, it does, and especially when you brew with peaches too, especially if you use a lot of them per batch,
like
it can have an
peaches.
almost like overripe peach, and that's what this tastes like. Is like right before it starts to rot, when
Yes.
it's just sticky
Yes,
sweet.
exactly.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, no, like
Yeah.
maybe just a touch past that.
Yeah. So and a lot of
it's not-
times those rotting fruit aromas actually play very well in funkier beers, but this one's so acidic and so fruit forward that you're kind of losing all that just straight into noise. It's definitely the least nuanced. But like if this was the loudest of the first three, and this one was like a nice little slap to the face, this was a kick straight to the teeth. More time in barrel, fewer peaches per batch, and honestly, it needs more time in the bottle. Yeah.
This is the youngest of them all.
Yep.
Yeah, that one just came out.
Well, I mean,
4 or 5 months ago.
fresh really. Well,
Whenever this episode releases, I'm sure it'll be a year, 2 years old. But
So go try it. You won't wince. Elara.
yeah. That's coming.
It's a
at you
beautiful
like-
name.
it's coming
To
at
be
you like the
fair,
ex-girlfriend.
I'm not
yeah,
a
that really is there. That's the ex-girlfriend beer. Oh my god. Yeah, you nailed it, dude.
To be fair, I'm not a huge sour person to begin with.
And it's
So,
not stripping the enamel off your teeth. It's not going to even be like some of the more abrasive like Flanders Reds, but it's pretty acidic, and it's definitely it's burning a little on the way down.
doubt.
So yeah, definitely the one I preferred the least.
These first three, killer.
I love that first
really,
one
really
especially.
good.
Well, yeah, there we go. So Steph,
Favorites.
favorite. Well, actually, put them in order. We're gonna pick our favorite children here. So go ahead and
Boom, boom,
put them in
boom.
order. All right.
Like I'm not. This guy doesn't
Yeah,
even.
that guy's over to the side for you. All right.
Yeah, I can't.
All right,
I
do
don't
that
think
again. Boom, boom, boom.
I liked 1, 3, 2.
Okay.
These two were similar. But I like that one dramatically more though. It had so much more going on.
Yeah.
These two were a little. They were fine. They were good even, but they were a little boring.
And that's one of the things you'll see a lot too with people on kind of their journey through craft beer is usually when people first jump into craft beer, anything that tastes stronger than Bud Light gets a wince out of them. But once you get acclimated and you start to enjoy craft beer, and I mean, we joke, but you actually drink quite a bit of beer and
I
you're
do.
definitely well versed. You start really looking for the loud stuff. You want those dynamic flavors because that's why you got into it from some of the other beers. Eventually, you kind of come over a sine curve and you start really getting into some of the things that are a
subtle
little
stuff?
more subtle and a little more nuanced. And honestly, a lot of times it tends to go back up again. That's why I
I
say
can
it's a
see
sine
that. Yeah.
curve, not just
Like
a
you
bell
can.
curve. But
It's a
it does. It keeps going with time.
Math and beer with friends.
Math, beer with
Math
friends,
with
and
friends.
vocabulary. You will be tested later.
So yeah, they are. I can see that, and I can also appreciate the difference between a beer that you want to just sit and drink by itself versus something you would pair with food.
Excellent.
And I can see these two being specifically good with the right pairings.
Yeah.
And really like bringing out the flavor of certain foods.
For sure.
Or foods doing that for them.
I think there's also something to be said too for a beer that having the amount that we're having versus sitting down and having a whole bottle.
Right.
And sometimes some of those noisier ones, like you have an Imperial Stout. So I see people who are buying like a 22-ounce bomber of an Imperial Stout, and they're planning on drinking the whole thing by themselves. More power to you. You
Not for
need
me.
help.
Our cameraman says, that's me.
Yeah. He's drunk right now, like mean too. Pounded a sexual chocolate right before this episode. Whole 22-ounce bomber. 5 years old, just killed it. Shotgun the bottle. I don't even know how you do that.
Ernest is an Imperial Stout.
So, Josh, how about you? What was kind of the order you were looking at on these?
I just
You just
tried
went back for a week.
Yeah, I just went back for a little taste, So, I got to go with this one just for that childhood connection. I'm transported, walking through the woods. I know I've said
Just
it.
immediately.
I know I've said it, but it's like me and my cousins walking through the woods, building forts, and you smell that fruit. It's
Yeah.
like,
Somebody's going to do a hot dogs and ketchup
So-
beer, and you're just going to be like transported right back to
There you
my
go.
childhood, straight out of the womb. It was great.
oh man! So this is my
Best beer I've ever
This
had.
is my number one, and then I also like this one. I like the addition of the spelt, and that one kind of added a little more
it
nutty, rustic type flavor. But all around, this one's great too. So 1, 2, 3.
This one's off your list too?
I feel like this
Or is
would
it
be a
number 4?
competitor if it had another 8 to 10 months. I believe.
MJ?
A lot of jokes there.
Mm-hmm.
So for me,
You like refrained. You thought about it. You thought about it. You went,
I don't want us to potentially get demonetized down the line, and I couldn't make the jokes I was about to say. So I'm definitely going with the Falkor. I thought that was fantastic.
Falkor.
Well balanced, awesome name.
Falkor.
Mother Falkor, please. No, I thought it was really well done, really well balanced. No real sharp edges. I thought it was beautiful, subtle, something I'd love to pair with food. Other than that, I really did like the Entmoot. It was a little louder, but all those flavors just jived perfectly. I thought it was definitely louder, but still pretty well balanced, pretty subtle. And again, I think would just pair wonderfully. It just felt like the Scuppernong was kind of the only note I got off the Viserion. I wish, which was this the Falkor? Yeah, okay. We'll make sure I wasn't saying the wrong one. I just thought it was a little bit one note. Other than that, I thought it was perfectly fine. It was very drinkable. I did enjoy it. But yeah, I just thought it was kind of missing something, maybe even just a little more oomph from the grain or a little more balance from the hops. I think I've gone a long way.
That's off the lead.
Elara might want to cancel her Tinder account.
What's the? I don't even know. Is it swipe left or swipe right?
I don't know.
even know.
I've been with my wife for 12 years. I know none of these things.
10 years. So I'm
Steph?
out of touch.
Don't even.
No.
So yeah, I'm thinking that one's probably the univers's
She's
least
in a
favorite.
league of her own.
Yeah.
Hats off to Legion though. I was
As a whole,
not expecting this at all.
Yeah.
They've really outdone themselves on these.
yeah, for a brewery that's
Very well
usually
done.
associated with just everybody's go-to hazy IPA, and that's kind of their whole identity, to see barrel-aged beer of this quality, especially on some styles that are really hard to hit and some kind of interpretations that really kind of hit, some ingredients that are really hard to use.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed.
Love the use of Epiphany, and this one used
Riverbend.
Riverbend.
Which
Yeah.
both craft maltsters right here in North Carolina.
Incredible. Love it.
We are fortunate here in North Carolina to have 3 fantastic craft maltsters. A
Can't
lot of
say
states
enough
don't
good
have
What's the
things
them.
third one? I know those two.
Yeah, so the last one is Carolina Malt
Carolina
House. They're up
Malt.
in
Oh,
Salisbury.
yeah.
But they all do fantastic work. It's really nice to see those guys get featured. I mean, especially when you got beer, like the malt is where so much of the flavor comes from. It's the base for basically the entire beer outside of the water, so it doesn't get nearly enough love. And it's nice to see those
For
guys
craft
getting
by craft.
called. Yep.
It's excellent.
And I
Love
do
it.
want to say too, I think that they again really crushed it with this branding and the labeling.
Oh, it looks fantastic.
And their brand, like it's like it grew up.
That's your thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I know, that's my
marketing,
thing.
branding.
That's my thing. But
I'm sure that's the first thing you saw too.
It is,
just
for
noticing
sure.
that and how
Yeah,
clean it is.
It's like they've matured in that, and then.
Would you say that branding is smooth?
Smooth.
But I do love it. It really is. It goes well. Like the previous one is the Juicy J with the cartoon bird and all that, and that works for that.
I've got that T-shirt.
This is I mean, who doesn't? But this is like a grown-up version, and
let
it
me have
looks
anything.
good with these bottles and the whole bit.
Yeah.
I love the consistent elements throughout, but the different color scheme for each.
You can tell what they
different
are
one.
right out. And this is a one-off series too, to be able to differentiate like that
They
at a glance.
There's a lot of nice like branding elements in here, and we would be remiss if we did not point out that the label also says Friends and Beer.
Yes.
Because
What is better? I butchered that.
Wow.
Because
This was going to
I'm
be
just
beautiful.
gonna- I'm
she
just-
set them up.
She said
lobbed
Here
it
it
was like
comes.
the perfect
The
serve.
only thing better than beer is beer with friends and Josh. Bye, guys. Oh, cheers, guys.
Josh.
You
Josh
need more
had a
beer.
rough
Yeah,
one
it was-
today.